Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie, and I'm back with this Act 5 series, and I'm making this series for a few reasons. The first one is I have gotten a lot of questions about Act 5, and I'm actually kind of finding them hard to answer because it's been a really long time since I've been through Act 5. So I kind of wanted to do a little refresher, and I really didn't want to start a new account. And I also know there are a lot of new players. Some I know, some of my friends just picked up this game, and so they're going to be looking for more Act 5 content. So I'm hoping with this series, I'm going to try my best to explain and kind of walk through Act 5, go over the paths, the bosses, the nodes, and basically champ information that is relevant to 2019. So in this video, we are going to be looking at Act 5.1.2, Weaponized. Now, I will not be going through each path. I may do that in later chapters, but in 2019 5.1.2, it's pretty straightforward. The first thing I want to do, however, is go over this spreadsheet here that I've created, and it's on Act 5. It is a live spreadsheet, so I can make edits to it. So there is a link to this spreadsheet in the description of this video, and like I said, I will be updating it as I go along. So if we look here, I have all the paths laid out. I have made maps out of each one, so we can see the map right here. And I've labeled, which paths I find to be easiest. So I actually find, path 2, which is this red path here, to be the easiest. Now, that's just my opinion. Some of you may find, path 3 to be the easiest. So, so basically, we can go through, and if you want to make comments on this video, or if you have any suggestions, please go ahead and feel free to leave them in the comments below. And like I said, this is a live spreadsheet, so I will be updating it as we move forward in the future. So the global node through 5.1.2 is Breakthrough, and that's when the champion starts the fight with plus 5,000 armor rating, and every hit removes 200. So this is actually one of the easiest chapters in Act 5.1 because you're not going to have to worry about any degenning effects like in 5.1.1. So with Breakthrough, your damage is going to be kind of low at the start of the fight, and then it's really going to start to ramp up after about 20 to 25 hits. The best tip I can give for this chapter is to use champs with high critical rates and crit damage to cut through that armor. Great champs to use are like Starkey, Domino, Gwenpool, even the Spider-Man, because, they are guaranteed a crit rating. Corvus is great here too because anytime he parries, he puts on an armor break. I also found that Iron Fist tore through a lot of the fights in this chapter with his armor break and high crit rate. I know, right? It's like pre 12.0 all over again. Using heavy hitters and champs that cause a damage over time, debuff, that's really gonna help you fly through this section. So let's go ahead and take a look at these paths. So we're gonna go ahead and start with path 3 here, which is this blue path, and you're gonna start off going through Gwenpool. Now path 3 is probably the longest, but it's pretty simple. So like I said, you're going to face Gwenpool every time. I do have some fights with her recorded, but you can basically take any champ through her. Someone that's going to be able to bleed her out like Archangel is a good option. So then we go from Gwenpool and we shoot over here to Iron Man. Nothing real special about Iron Man. Then we go down here to Cable. You're not going to want to use a bleeder against Cable because you'll get a degen. Move on over to Groot. Nothing special. Then we shoot on over here and we move on up through Elektra, Red Hulk, Dr. Voodoo, and Ant-Man. Believe it or not, Ant-Man is going to test your patience. He is going to be a test of endurance because of that glancing. Then we move on over to Magneto, He's pretty easy and straightforward. And then we shoot on over to Howard the Duck, who you're going to have to fight every single path as well, just like Gwenpool. Now, Howard has unblockable special 1, but that's pretty easy to avoid. Try to keep him at his special 1. His special 2 does a lot of damage, and it's really not that easy to avoid, and you would take a lot of block damage, especially if you are using 3 stars or low 4 stars. Now, you could bring in a high block proficiency champ like a Captain America or a champ with a high armor rating. Now, he also has recovery at 50 and 25%, so when he hits that threshold, try to parry as soon as possible in case he starts healing, because once he starts healing, it's gonna go. All right, so then after that, we move on to the boss, who is Moon Knight, which I will go over that a little bit later on. All right. So now we are going to move to path 2, which is marked in red here. So once again, we fight Gwenpool. Then we shoot on up here and we go through Nightcrawler. Now, Nightcrawler, he can be kind of tricky if you cannot get him to switch in swashbuckling mode. If you're not that great in getting him to switch, just try using 2 and 3 hit combos so that if he evades, he doesn't come back and smack you in the face. Then we go to Unstoppable Colossus. Pretty easy. Black Bolt, nothing too fancy there. Don't get caught with one of his specials, otherwise he could potentially stun you, and then you're going to get wrecked in the face. All right, then we shoot back on down here, and we go through Hulkbuster, and Scarlet Witch is going to be kind of problematic. You're going to want to bring in a poison immune champ for her because she will put a poison debuff on you. But other than that, basically, you're just going to want class advantage and armor break the rest of the way through this path, through Winter Soldier, Vision, then we go back over to Howard the Duck and on to Moon Knight. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about path 3. Or excuse me, we just talked about path 3. Path 1. And I decide to go ahead and use 3 stars on this. So first thing we're going to come across is Gwenpool. And so I go ahead and decide to bring in Archangel for this because not only do I have the class advantage for this, but I also have the damage over time with the bleed, the poison, and the neurotoxin. And so basically the whole point of this is to just kind of let the damage over time debuffs do their job. Also, you can see my hits are getting kind of stronger. The more that I lay into her, she's losing that armor. So I go ahead and heavy. We've got 2 neurotoxins, 7 stacks of bleeds, launch the special 2, look at that damage, roll. And I mean, Gwenpool, honestly, she's not that hard. You could use really any champ for her, but, you know, just evade her special 1 and special 2, not that bad. So now we move on to Guillotine. Now, she has a heavy hitter on this node, so you cannot interrupt her heavy, but that's okay because it is pretty easy to punish. I decided to bring in Red Hulk for this fight because I have the class advantage, number 1, and I also get extra damage from my heat charges. Now, if you notice, Guillotine also has a power gain on this node, which you can use to work to your advantage, right? Because Guillotine specials, they're both very easy to punish. So go ahead and bait out those special 1s and special 2s, go in and punish. You'll reduce your block damage, and that'll help you out tremendously. So we've got 10 heat charges on Red Hulk. Guillotine is down to 23%, and we're just wrecking her. You can see how much her armor went down. All right, so now we are moving on to Captain America, and honestly, this is really not a bad fight. His special 1 is unblockable, and you'll see what happens in a little bit. But I do decide to bring in Gwenpool because of the class advantage and also the extra bleeds. So he goes ahead and throws his special 2. And we've got some good bleeds on him right there. Parry, go ahead and launch the special 2. Another good thing about Gwenpool is she's got the Enervate, which is basically like power control. So whenever you hit into the opponent, they're not going to gain power. It's a great form of power control. We've got the bleeds going. We've got Enervate back. And so he goes ahead and launches his special. His specials are also very easy to punish, like Guillotine, so definitely use those to your advantage. Go ahead and launch the special 2 again. So we're at 49 hits. 50. We got Enervate going, we've got Bleed going, And boom, right there. Heavy to the face. So I'm like, okay, cool. We'll bring in Red Hulk, get the heat charge damage going. And I should note too that the breakthrough reset. So I have to go through all of that again. I just ate a special 1 from Captain America right there, but no worries. We're still alive. And we're just cruising on through it with Red Hulk. We've got 7 heat charges. And we just want to bait out those specials when we can. Get his armor down so that our damage can really ramp up. But any champ would really work out great against Captain America here. Damage over time champs, also very good for this whole chapter. Okay, so now we are moving on to War Machine, and War Machine here is probably one of the most difficult fights. I decided to go ahead and use a 4-star Medusa to stop his armor up at the end of the fight, but really any armor break champ or any champ that nullifies would be really good for him. Now, he also has, obviously, enhanced armor up and a fury, and he's got unblockable special 2. So, best bet if you're not great at evading the special 2 is just bait out that special 1 and take the block damage. Now, if you parry the first hit, you can reduce the amount of block damage that you get. So Medusa is a great option for this because she gets 3 furies. She can really wreck him. She can shatter his armor. And so right now I'm just trying to get him to bait out that special 1 again. War Machine is one of those champs where you can be at the complete opposite end of the map and he will always seem to throw his special. So use that to your advantage. Go ahead and launch the special 2 and down War Machine goes. Okay, so now we are moving on to Gambit. And so I go ahead and you decide to bring in Starkey for this. Now I want to try to build up my poise charges so that I can really let Starkey go to town and let that damage roll. Now, this node also has power gain, which is great for Starkey because he puts that taunt on the opponent to get your opponent to throw the specials, and you'll be able to take less block damage. Be careful of Gambit's special 1. If it hits you, it will stun you every time, even though it's not supposed to. So your best option here is try to push him to his special 2. Any champ that has class advantage is great. Really, these fights aren't really that bad. You can use essentially almost any champ here. Any champ that would be damage over time is another great option for these fights. Omega Red would be great for this as well. So you can essentially use any champ you want. Now, Starkey doesn't have a high block proficiency, so I am taking a good amount of block damage here. And I don't know what I just did there, just like a nice little kabam whiff in the air, but it's all right. It's okay, Gambit. We'll let it slide this time. So I'm trying to be really careful here because I don't want to push him to his special 3. If I push him to his special 3, that is insta-death for Starkey. So I'm just and I should have power drained him right there. I don't know what I was thinking. If I would have hit him with the heavy, I would have power drained him. So go ahead and launch I thought I was going to launch my special 2, but didn't have to. All right, so now we're moving on to Howard the Duck. And I am bringing in Starkey here because of the unblockable special 1. Now, Howard the Duck's special 1s aren't really that hard to dodge, but having an auto evader here like Starkey, OG Daredevil would be good for this too, or even like Cosmic Spidey. After you throw a special, he gets that spider sense, which is basically his evade, would be great. Now, Howard the Duck also has Stupefy for an extra little bit of fun, and of course, Recovery. So now because he has Recovery on here, once you get him down to 50% and 25%, if he recovers and starts to regen, he is going to heal a ton of health back. Now you're going to want to watch too, because he also has a chance to get Thunderquack. And believe you me, you will see you don't want to get Thunderquacked. But you're gonna want to parry him as soon as he starts. As soon as you see processing, when you get him down to 50 and 25%, you are gonna want to parry him so you stop that regen and stop the Thunderquack. So you see I didn't get him there. I didn't parry when he said processing. I got Thunderquacked and I got instant death with Starkey. So you're also gonna want to come in here with a fully healed champ in case that happens. So I go ahead and bring in Medusa. to finish him off. Go ahead and dodge that special one. You can see his special ones are pretty easy to dodge. They're not that difficult. So I didn't get the parry in there for the Thunderquack, but because Medusa was at full health pretty much, we didn't take that much damage. Okay, so now we're moving on to the boss, which is Moon Knight. And honestly, he is one of the easiest bosses in 5.1 because there are no linked nodes to take down. You will go into the same fight every single time. So really, you could bring in any champ you want. The only thing you want to watch out for is you want to make sure that Moon Knight is not in his evade phase when you go in here, because that can make things a little bit more difficult. But I just decided to go ahead and bring in Archangel, you know, do the parry heavy, get the bleeds, get the poisons, the neurotoxins on, and just let them do their thing. Any champ would work. Champs that are heavy hitters or damage over time that put a debuff on the champ, on your opponent, excuse me, those are great options for this. So really, the only thing I'm trying to get him to do now is throw a special 2, and he's being kind of stingy with it, isn't he? Like, he's like, no, fam, I don't want to throw it. Then he finally goes ahead and throws it. Run in, we got the stun going, launch the special 1. Unfortunately, didn't get any debuffs there, but it is what it is. He's down to 27% health. We got a couple bleeds, get some more bleeds. He's up to his special 2. This time he wants to throw it right away. Cool, 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 Moon Knight. We go ahead and launch our special 1. And Moon Knight is pretty much dead. We're just gonna let him tick away. Boom. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at path 4. Now I decide to go ahead and bring in 4 stars for this path just to make things go a little bit faster. So we're going up against Gwenpool for the last time, and I decided to use Domino for this for her sheer damage and her class advantage. Now Domino is great because when your opponent is unlucky, if you launch your special, you can get a crit bleed, which will finish them off almost instantaneously, especially when they're down lower in health. So Gwenpool is unlucky. Go ahead and launch the special 2. And we get we didn't get the crit bleed there. We got, did we? No, we got the crit failure there. Sorry, excuse me. But she's down to 5% and down she goes. So now we are moving on to Iron Man. And Iron Man, not a hard fight. We've got Medusa again for, you know, the armor break. Iron Man, he doesn't really have anything special here, so just want to bait out the specials when you can. So I'm trying to bait out his special 2 here because I don't want to eat a special 3 from Iron Man right now. That would be no bueno. So we're just going to go ahead and wail away on him. Get him to try to throw this special again. He doesn't want to throw it, but we're out damaging his regen there. All right, so now we move on to Venompool, and Venompool actually has buff duration and Mystic Ward, so bringing in a Nullify champ is not going to work here because the Mystic Ward gives him a 95% chance to fail the Nullify. So I go ahead and decide to bring in X23 for her sheer sustainability and raw damage. X23 is great here. Now I did eat that special 1, but it's not terrible, right? Like, you see my health ticking away and you're like, oh no, Katie, you're at 12%. But X23 is great at getting regens. So we healed back up to 21%, launched the special. And so another good thing about X23, hi Chevy Dog, is whenever she gets 3 or more bleeds on her opponent, she enters into a frenzy mode. So she'll hit the opponent harder. Okay, so now we are moving on to Wolverine, and he has recovery here, and when he regens like crazy. So if you have a heal block champ like Yondu or Civil Warrior, that would be a great option. Yondu, you can heal block off the special 1. All you got to do is get to the special 1. You want to make sure that that last arrow hits your opponent because that is when the heal block is inflicted. If you bring in Yondu and you launch your special while the opponent is regenning, the heal block lasts instead of 10 seconds, it lasts 20 seconds. So he is a great option for this. Another great option is Civil Warrior. All you got to do to get the heal block on is just throw your heavy. And he also power drains. But Wolverine specials, not hard to evade. You also want to be really careful here too, because he has enhanced bleeds. So either don't get hit or bring a bleed immune champ in with you. That is another great option. But I just decided to bring in Starkey here so I could out damage his regen. All right, so now we are moving on to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man can be a little bit tricky here because he has enhanced abilities which will cause his evade to trigger more often. So I went ahead and decided to use Gwenpool here. Not only does she have class advantage, but she can curve some of that evade chance by raising her combo. But you want to be careful of him because this is a critical node. So if he hits you, he's gonna come in like a truck, especially if he crits. So your best bet here is to try and parry and do 2 to 3 hit combos if you can't work around his evade. If you can get someone who can stop his evade like Venom, that's another great option too. So now we move on to Punisher, and he has enhanced fury and bleed. So of course, because of the enhanced fury, he's going to hit you like a truck as well. So the best way to fight Punisher here is you can bring in a class advantage champ. So a mutant is always great. Domino works very well against him. Omega Red would be another solid bet too. Archangel, you can just bleed him out. But you want to bait out his special ones. You'll take less damage from his special 1 versus his special 2. Plus with the special 1, you can avoid that first punch and just block the bullets. So we went ahead and launched our special 2 there, got the critical bleed on from Domino, and we are just watching his damage tick away, and we luckily did not get that Endure. Okay, so now we are moving on to the all or nothing Colossus. So you're either going to want to power drain him, zerg him down quickly, or taunt out his specials with someone like Starkey or Emma Frost. They will work too. You can also bring in someone with a class advantage or, a high damage champ. Magic would be a great option for this fight because once you get her to her special 2, she not only power drains, but she power locks as well. So, plus with that limbo, she'll put a little bit of a debuff on him as well. Not really a debuff, but you guys know what I mean. So, and I could have easily have power drained him here. I don't know why. I was just not wanting to power drain Starkey through here. Oh, wow. But we get the taunt on him, and he's just throwing those specials like crazy with the taunt. So, no biggie. But the thing with Sparky is he doesn't have a high block proficiency, so we're taking a good bit of damage there. But Colossus goes down, and we are back to Howard the Duck. And so I decided to bring in a fully healed up, pretty much Medusa, and just go ham. Now, just to recap, he's got recovery and unblockable special 1, so you definitely want to be careful you don't get hit with that special 1. There, we weren't able to parry when he was processing, so we are getting thunderquacked, but lucky for us, Medusa is just going to town. But oh, right there, when we got him down to 25%, look at how much he is regenning. That is crazy. He was down to 25% and went all the way up past 60. But we just launched our special 2, and down Howard goes. So now we are back at the boss with Moon Knight, and we're just going to go ham him down with Domino. Again, Domino is a great option for him, as I said before, but you could really bring any champ in here to fight the boss. Like I said, he's one of the easier bosses to fight. Just try not to catch him when he's in his evade phase. I find his special 2 a lot easier to dodge than his special 1 because you don't have anything coming at you. You just, he's just swinging his stick around. So, anyway, that was weird. I got a really kind of skip frame there. So we went ahead and launched our special 2. No crit bleed there, but did you see the crit right there? That was over 9,000. That was pretty good. He's down to 42%. We're about equal in health bar, but Domino's just going ham. Just want to try to bait out this special 2 from him. Don't want to push him to the special 3. That would potentially be insta-death for Domino, and that's the name of the game, right? Don't get hit and don't die. So he's just being super stingy, does not want to throw that special 2. He's like, no, fam, I'm not going to do it. So I'm just trying to get him to bait it out, and he's got me backed up against the wall, which I'm not a big fan of. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, right here, he's not going to throw it. He's not going to throw it. And I keep parrying him, and I don't want to parry him. And so I'm like debating, do I want to go at it? Do I want to go at it? And I just go for it, launch the special 2, and down Moon Knight goes. So anyways, guys, that's all that I've got for 5.1.2. But let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of the maps? Would you use this spreadsheet? Who did you guys use? Do you have any any suggestions to add to the spreadsheet? And let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Hit me up in the Discord chat, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye, guys.